Hey guys, it's Brian again. So I'm just going to do another quick activity that can actually work for a 15-minute class for teaching English or Spanish or French or really any language that you want. This is one that my Fulbright conversation clubs really enjoyed. It's called Alibi, and I'm going to try to explain this to you as quickly as possible. And in the description box, I'm going to include a link where you can click to get to a file that I made that will prepare you and your students to play the game. It's also great for like an emergency sub situation too. So if you like this game, you should definitely check out the other video I did called Hot Seat. It's another really fantastic game that everybody enjoys. But anyway, so as quickly as possible. So this game is called Alibi. And what you do is you have your students invent a crime. And it's easier if you as the teacher prepare this crime. So for example, one that I did was that me, the English teacher, my laptop went missing at 4:30 p.m. So you tell everybody in the class, okay, so at 4:30 p.m., it was reported that the laptop went missing from the English teacher's office. And then you choose 2 or 3 students that want to be the suspects, and you specifically tell them, and you say, you, 2 or 3, were seen leaving the teacher's office at 4:35 p.m. So these students then, now that everybody knows what the scenario is, so again, let me repeat that. So the scenario is that at 4:30 p.m., the English teacher's laptop was reported missing, and these 2 or 3 students were seen leaving his office at 4:35 p.m. So you then send those 3 students who are the suspects out away from the interviewers, and you have those students create an alibi. And these students are going to create a very as detailed as possible, and they're going to memorize it. And they're going to create an extremely detailed account as to what was happening between 4:15 and 4:45, because they are then going to be interviewed one at a time without hearing what the other person says by the remaining students in the class. So again, we have the students that are trying to organize their alibi, and then we have the rest of the class who is going to interview the students to find flaws in their alibi. So while these students outside are creating their alibi, because they want to be as close and as perfect as possible and consistent, the students on the inside are thinking of questions, of very detailed questions that they can ask them. For instance, if one of the suspects says they went out to eat lunch, a really detailed question could be, oh, well, who paid? Or how did the person pay? Because I guarantee you that they don't have enough time to prepare an answer, and that's how you find flaws, because you're going to ask the same questions to all three suspects at separate times, right? So here's how it progresses from there. So again, you have the people creating their alibi, a very detailed account of what happened, like what color were the walls in the elevator, things like that. And then you have people making questions that they think are going to be really detailed about that. So the first person comes in. As you can see in the picture right here, the class sits around and they interview this person right here. And as they do that, they're keeping track of the questions that they ask this person, because they have to ask the same questions to all 3 people. So the first thing that happens is this person here, the suspect, tells them everything that happened. They have about 3 minutes to tell them, in whatever language, what happened. And that is when these people here then begin to ask the suspect the questions. And this is where keeping track of these questions asked is important. Okay. And then after keeping track of the questions and what the person says, suspect number 2 comes in and sits down. Suspect number 1 goes to the back and sits there. See this guy right here? He's trying to hold his composure while the second person gets interviewed. So the second person comes in, gets interviewed, and this is when you can start to see the flaws in the story, right? So if you ask, well, who paid at the cafeteria? If they weren't ready for that, this person could say, oh, I did. And then this person could say, oh, I did. And that's where you keep track and you figure it out if there's flaws. So after you ask numerous questions like that, you start to figure out, where the story differs. And then at the end, after all the suspects have been interviewed, you as the teacher could go through each question and analyze the answers and keep track, make points of either like uh, guilty or not guilty. And then if they have more guilty than not guilty, you know, you can make a play with that. But the point is, it's a great practice. So here, students have to practice the interrogative form. They have to practice affirmations. They have to preemptively think of questions to ask. They really have to understand scenarios. They hear narratives. Linguistically, this project, this game is rich. So, I mean, you can then go into what it means to be guilty, what it means to be not guilty. You can assign them roles with having lawyers, plaintiffs. You can really take this and go wherever you want. As I said before, I'm going to supply you with a packet that I made that you can just make copies, pass it around, and you'll be ready to go. If you just need an emergency subplan, it's perfect. Need something to have fun with the kids. This works for anybody of all ages. I've played with kids in middle school. I've played with people in college. Everybody loves it. So, again, if you haven't seen the hot seat video, check it out because it's another one that's really fun. See you next time.